What's up, guys? It's Tuesday, August 8th. It is getting late here tonight, so I just got home from work. Quickly fed the animals, gonna check those eggs out. We gotta get those eggs tonight. The chickens have actually been locked down longer than I would like, so I'm really hoping this is our true test. This is gonna determine if we actually have eggs going on, or if we have another issue. So we're gonna dive into that tonight. Before that, I do want to kind of give our update on where we're at with the pigs, and I want to talk about what we're gonna do with 1,000+ pounds of pork. All right, so we got the pigs here in our background, and I wanted to talk tonight a little bit about, look at these little guys. I wanted to talk tonight about what we're gonna do with all the pork that we're gonna produce here. And before we really dive into kind of numbers and weight, I wanna talk about kind of what our pigs are first. So our first, and what we mostly have, we have 7 pigs in total. Our 2 larger pigs, the ones that were bred, Ziggy and Betsy, they are American Guinea Hog and Hampshire crosses. No, they're not pure American Guinea Hog. A lot of people, if you're not familiar with American Guinea Hogs, it is considered by a lot of people some of the best pork in the world. But these are going to be American Guinea Hog and Hampshire crosses. Now, typically the American Guinea Hogs, they're going to take a lot longer to grow out. They're going to be a slower growth pig. It's going to take, up to 18 months to really get a decent sized pig. Where your Hampshires, though, they are your typical grower. They're going to grow up 400 pounds in a pretty reasonable amount of time there if you let them. We won't go that heavy. That's just tough to handle. But that is kind of where we're at with those larger pigs. Now, our other 2 females here, they are going to be our IPPs. So they're Idaho pasture pig. So I'm going to get this wrong and I'm going to fact check myself, but I believe they are a cross between a Duroc and a Kunekune. And they are known for kind of their grazing properties, their ability to graze and not root as much as some of these other pigs. These, I call them guinea hogs, and that's what we're going to call them here for the sake of our farm. These guinea hog Hampshires, though, they root like crazy, where the IPPs, they're not going to quite do that as much. The IPPs will grow much quicker than what our Guinea Hampshire crosses are going to grow. Although I will say Ziggy, when we got him, he was pretty small as a piglet, and I mean, look at him now, he's massive back there. So maybe we could be surprised, depending on the ratio, how they were mixed. The growth there could surprise us, but so far from piglet to where they are now at a couple months old, they definitely seem to be growing slower than the Idahos. So all that into consideration, we're gonna shoot for the roughly 250 pound range for our pigs. If we get them to 300, great. Really not too concerned about weight. We're not taking them to market or anything like that. So 250 pound ballpark. For us, it's gonna be more so kind of a time frame type thing. Being that we're doing the butchering ourselves, we're gonna try to process them over winter when the weather is a little bit more in our favor, when you're not dealing with the heat, and then you get all sorts of bugs and sanitation type issues. So we're gonna shoot for over winter. Our first butchering is probably going to take place sometime after Christmas. I'm gonna say early 2024, where we're gonna butcher our first pigs here. And that's really gonna kind of kick us off. So what are we gonna do with 1,000 pounds of pork? And let me just start off by saying we're not going to eat all that. We're not going to store all that in our freezers here at home. And you might be wondering, how did I get that number? How did I come up with 1,000 pounds? So to put it real simple for you, we figure 250 pounds per pig. Again, this is all kind of rough math. You're never going to know exact unless you have a full setup, with appropriate scales and things like that. But we're going to figure roughly 250 pounds. The average pig, and this can scale all different ways depending on whether you're leaving your bones in, how you're going to process your animal. Average pig is going to be roughly about a 60% meat yield off of what the live weight is going to be. So 250 pound pig is going to be about 150 pounds of meat, and that is considered bone in and all that as well. So you got to take that into consideration. But 150 pounds across 7 pigs is going to put you just over 1,000 pounds there. So that's why I'm talking 1,000 pounds of pork sitting right here behind me. what are we going to do with all this? I think our first decision we need to make here is, okay, what are we going to keep? What do we want to carry into next year? And I think right now the plan will be to take our 2 breeders that we started with, Ziggy and Betsy there, and continue to keep them around here on the farm, and continue to try to breed those Guinea Hampshire crosses. Now, the reason I brought the IPPs in to begin with was to see if we could get some sort of different genetics, you know, a kind of a different crossed pig that might be kind of a little bit of a mixture of that of a guinea hog, that of a Hampshire, and that of an IPP. So got a lot going on there. That was kind of the original thought. Not sure if that's the route we're gonna go right now, but the way it's kind of worked out on paper, the 2 IPPs, they are both females, so we have 2 options with them. And the first one would be to keep one for breeding. And then the other one is gonna go to one of our family members, so that one's already spoken for. Now the other piglets, that's where it kind of gets interesting, and that's where we have to determine a future here. I had to move to get some better lighting. It's definitely getting late here. So yeah, we have a decision to make when it comes to what we're gonna do with the piglets, and one of them is actually spoken for from one of my buddies, and then the other 2 are kind of up in the air. So right now, it sounds like we have a decision to make on a couple things, but as I assured you in the beginning, it's not all going in our freezer. We don't have the freezer capacity for that, but it is something that I'm gonna have to consider, you know, when we butcher these animals, getting another freezer. I am going to add another chest freezer. We already have two large freezers in our basement. Gonna add a 3rd one. We're gonna have some lamb, we're gonna have some pork for sure. So definitely going to need to expand there as well. It's all part of the storage though. I mean, that's nothing crazy. Freezers, you know, don't take much to run there, as they're well insulated. You know, they kind of have that thermal battery build up with all that meat in there, so they don't take a whole lot of energy to power. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's a real short update, kind of where we're at, what our plans are with the pigs. I guess in short, we don't really have a set plan to this point. But we're certainly working through it. We have a couple options, you know, depending on which way we want to go. One thing I definitely learned from this year is I'm not going to carry 7 pigs into next year. The cost, and somebody actually commented the other day on the cost of pigs, and it's very true. It is a more expensive animal to raise, unless you're really going to kind of commercialize it, and you know, pump them full of whatever it may be that goes into our commercial pork. And we're not willing to do that here. Again, we're not using the highest of quality feeds, but we are going to let them have a little more time, which is going to require more input. And it's just a more costly approach than when you mass produce pork, which your quality is just not going to be there. So that's our lesson this year. Probably go with less if we do breed the 2 pigs we have, Ziggy and Betsy there. We're going to plan on probably honestly selling a few off as piglets. It's a fairly popular thing in our area, and I'm confident we'll be able to sell them off pretty early on there, which is always good, make a couple bucks as well, while we can continue to be self-sufficient with our own pork. And again, that's kind of the whole goal of this, being able to continuously maintain a cycle there where we're gonna have enough meat for ourselves every year, and continue that year over year. So right now we're calibrating the chicken door. We're opening it up, and then you basically have to shut it again. That way it knows kind of what's the full open, what's the full close setting. And then it's gonna be, we set ours on light. So basically at first light, it's gonna open, and as light kind of diminishes in the evening, it's going to shut. Again, you can set these on timing, which is pretty cool. So there's a couple different options. Okay, so we are good to go. And it's still sensing some light, so it's actually gonna open back up, which is fine. Now let's check if there's some eggs. Moment of truth here. Broody hen still sitting here. Oh. And I am not seeing anything. So like I said, guys, it was definitely a later night tonight. I just wanted to get that update out because the wheels have been turning in my head as to what we're gonna do with all this meat. And quite honestly, not having a set plan to this point. Is making me a little nervous about it, but we're going to continue to think about it. The wheels are turning there. Also wanted to see if the eggs were good, and unfortunately we're striking out there with the eggs, so we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I'm thinking I'm gonna start throwing in some different feed to them. I mentioned in past videos that they've basically just been eating with the pigs, and we've had great success with it. So it could be where the pigs are just getting so large, they're consuming all that food before the chickens are really getting in there. So I think that's where the route we're gonna go. We're gonna go back to having the feeder at the coop there, and we'll see if that produces some results. And as always, guys, we're gonna keep you updated on this journey. Hope you're enjoying kind of every step along the way, and I'm gonna try to continue to share everything, the ups, the downs, the roller coaster ride that we're all on here, because it's not all easy. You know, as much as we'd all love it to be, where you can all just get out here and do this perfectly, it's not going to be all easy. So I'm just trying to be as honest as I possibly can with you, and hopefully that's appreciated. Hopefully you see kind of the value in learning these lessons, and honestly, it would be great if you learn from my mistakes and can get out there and do it right the first time because of what I've done wrong. That would be my ultimate goal, and that would be something that I would consider a success from doing these videos. So if you like what we're doing, guys, always give us that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel to give us some support there. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, please drop them in the box below. We're happy to hear from you guys. We're happy to answer any questions. Love the interaction, as I always say. And with that, guys, have a great evening.